Deep within, something is breaking down, and you're oblivious to it. It's not your career, your health, or your personal life. It's something far more subtle and perilous. You're unknowingly losing a battle, the battle for your own respect. This silent conflict unfolds each time you force a smile, bow your head to avoid discomfort, over-justify your actions, or agree when you desperately want to refuse. There are no visible scars, no loud confrontations, no apparent foes, yet you are being defeated incrementally by seemingly insignificant choices. These choices, however, are not benign. They are setting you up for a fall. Tragically, you've mistaken kindness for a tactic, convinced that being agreeable is more crucial than earning respect, that acquiescence is a shield. This is a fallacy. It actually diminishes your strength. These aren't my words, but those of a man misunderstood by many yet feared by all. Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who dissected the human spirit with unparalleled precision. He recognized something vital that you've overlooked. Kindness without forethought is essentially a slow societal, psychological, and internal demise. It's a gradual erosion that eventually leaves you staring at a stranger in the mirror. Each time you compromise your boundaries, the world takes note. Each justification teaches others they can challenge you. Each act of constant availability teaches others to take you for granted. You become an expected, predictable entity, a tamed spirit, and it happens quietly. It manifests when you're no longer consulted, when your opinions don't count, when your absence goes unnoticed, when you're there, but essentially invisible. Respect doesn't vanish overnight. It fades away. It dissipates in conversations where you're talked over, in meetings where your reactions are no longer anticipated, in decisions made without your input. You're being sidelined. Yet, there you are, smiling, justifying, enduring, hoping for fairness. But the world isn't fair. It's structured hierarchically, and positions of power aren't allocated out of kindness. They are claimed through assertiveness, enigma, distance, and authority. Machiavelli penned this in stark terms. It's safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. So, are you actively participating, or are you merely hoping to be liked? Respect isn't pleaded for, it's commanded, not through loudness or aggression, but through firm boundaries, the art of withdrawal, the chill of unavailability, the strategic silence amidst chaos. This video isn't just a compilation of clever sayings. It's a guide, a blueprint revealing how you're unknowingly relinquishing control, how your well-intentioned actions are eroding your dignity, how your everyday polite behaviors are stripping you of the most fundamental power, the power to command respect. Here's the harsh truth no one wants to face. It's not others' malice that belittles you. It's your own leniency. It's your acquiescence when everything feels wrong, your resigned acceptance, your compulsive need to explain when you're already misunderstood, your struggle to convince the unconvinced. Machiavelli bluntly stated that those who seek to please everyone ultimately succumb to all. Over-explaining, perpetual availability, limitless tolerance, These aren't virtues, they're vulnerabilities. Through these cracks, disregard, habituation, and indifference seep in, wondering why you're not taken seriously, why your words lack impact, why your decisions are doubted. It's because you've treated respect as optional, as something you extend rather than command. Respect isn't handed out. It's earned, cultivated, demanded, and that begins with you in what you permit, what you endure, what you choose to ignore. This video isn't about transforming you into a tyrant or an unfeeling statue. It's about reminding you that you can be firm without cruelty, aloof without arrogance, respected without fear, but never overlooked. Because when you're ignored, everything else starts to crumble. We'll explore 7 lessons, 7 errors, 7 doors that, if left unsealed, allow others to diminish you. 7 seemingly innocuous actions that Machiavelli would deem social suicides. What follows might be uncomfortable, unsettling, and might force you to confront a reflection you weren't prepared to see. But it might also be the awakening you need. Once you grasp how you've lost respect, you begin to reclaim it, not by asking for permission or forgiveness, not by raising your voice, but by asserting your presence, employing strategy, setting boundaries. Prepare yourself, because after this video, you will never be the same, and neither will those who underestimated you. Now, as we delve deeper, let's explore an even more profound, silent, and perilous aspect: the habit of emotionally overextending yourself, of making yourself too accessible, not just physically, but mentally. You inadvertently teach others that your feelings are open for manipulation, that they can demand explanations, that they can probe your innermost thoughts without caution. This erodes your respect faster than any public error. Machiavelli understood that true power lies not in revealing everything, but in what you choose to keep hidden, in the strategic silences that provoke more thought than 1,000 words. The world doesn't respect what's freely given. It values what resists easy consumption. Yet, you continue to explain, to justify, to attempt understanding from everyone. What do? They see you as an open book, briefly skim through, lose interest, and move on. When there's no mystery, there's no respect. When you're too accessible, nothing about you seems worth the effort to maintain, cherish, or protect. The issue isn't transparency, but vulnerability without strategy. Yes, vulnerability can connect, but only when it's deliberate, when you control the when, how, and why, not when it's a desperate response from someone who can't hold their ground. If you open up to someone unprepared to handle your truth, you're not just sharing. You're exposing yourself to the most sophisticated form of humiliation, emotional. This happens daily. The person who apologizes for their existence, who prefaces their views with disclaimers of potential error, who feels compelled to validate every emotion as though their feelings require justification. This pattern deactivates your power before you even speak, because you're more concerned with being understood than respected. And Machiavelli taught us something crucial. You can't control how others interpret you, but you can dictate how they approach you. And that's achieved through boundaries, through maintaining an aura of mystery, through the art of selective visibility. But here's another trap: the urgency to be constantly visible, to be in every chat, at every meeting, included in every plan. In fear of being forgotten, you make yourself omnipresent. But respect isn't garnered through omnipresence. It's earned through scarcity, through choosing when to appear and when to withdraw, sometimes abruptly, without drama, without explanation. Because the one who can leave at any moment holds more value when they choose to stay. Misunderstood consistency isn't loyalty. It's dependency, insecurity, a fear of losing your spot if you're not there to claim it daily. But someone truly respected can vanish, yet remain in thoughts, can be silent yet still influence, can refuse without loudness, and no one dares to challenge them. All this stems from one fundamental error: confusing constant visibility with relevance, believing that to matter, you must be ever present. But perpetual presence merely renders you part of the scenery, background noise. And no one respects what merely fills space. Respect comes from contrast, from the gaps you leave, from the silence that speaks louder than words. That's where others gauge your worth, not in your omnipresence, but in your absence, in what you withhold, not what you saturate them with. And here's a question you might never have pondered. Why do you explain so much? Why that urge to justify yourself? Deep down, it's because you feel guilty for wielding power, because you equate setting boundaries, saying no, and establishing rules with aggression. But it's not. It's protection. And here's the stark conclusion to this concept. Once you grasp this, you're forever altered. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't return to old ways. Something within you no longer fits. You can't pretend ignorance of what you now know. You can't overlook how you've internally drained yourself to keep up external appearances. You can't let others dispute your decisions without feeling a betrayal of your own integrity. Respect isn't constructed in grandiose acts. It's forged in the mundane, in what you refrain from doing, in the words you withhold, in the reserves you maintain, in the gaze you fix, in the silences you choose, in the moments you walk away without justification. Because respect is a psychological play, and you must stop engaging it like a child seeking approval and start navigating it like a strategist who knows their self-worth ensures others' recognition or their absence. And if you've reached this point, it indicates something within you has stirred, something that won't easily be lulled back to slumber. A suspicion, a spark, a discomfort signaling that you can't remain unchanged. And that's beneficial. Indeed, it's excellent, because discomfort is the precursor to transformation. People don't change for comfort. They change due to pain, frustration, and a newfound clarity. Now, you're viewing your interactions differently. You can no longer endure certain dynamics without internal protest. And that sensation is your respect demanding room, your dignity asserting itself from within, not to react with hostility, not to become detached or aloof, but to remind you that you're here to leave a mark. And now that you're alert, Let me share something seldom disclosed. There's a precise moment when you reclaim your respect. It's not when you shout. It's not when you seek revenge. It's not when you compose a lengthy explanation of your feelings. It's far simpler, more definitive. Respect returns the day you choose not to repeat past behaviors. The day you recognize the trap and avoid it. The day someone anticipates your reaction and you opt not to respond. The day someone provokes you into conflict and you merely smile and depart. Not from weakness, but because you no longer have anything to prove. This moment won't be celebrated. There won't be any spectators, but it will fundamentally alter your energy, and you'll feel it. Others will sense it too, because when you transform internally, the external world adjusts. And no, the transition isn't always pleasant. Initially, it's lonely, disorienting, akin to navigating without a map. But each step taken from this new truth resonates, an echo that others start to perceive. They no longer trample over you. They no longer underestimate you. They no longer include you out of pity. Now, they regard you with a different intensity, a different awareness, because you've ceased seeking permission to be yourself. And there, right there, genuine respect emerges. The kind that isn't imposed or pleaded for. The kind that flows from you like an invisible force enveloping everything. Not for what you do, but for what you no longer permit. For what you no longer justify. For what you no longer share with those who fail to appreciate it. This is your new strategy. Silent, precise, unyielding. And when you implement this, you realize something extraordinary. You no longer require as much from the world. You no longer seek validation in every interaction. You no longer fret over others' opinions, because your center has shifted away from others. And that renders you formidable, because someone who doesn't rely on others can't be manipulated. Someone who doesn't crave attention is free to move as they wish. And in a world teeming with emotional supplicants, you become an impregnable fortress. So here concludes the video, but something deeper commences. Your reconfiguration, your rebirth, because henceforth, every word you utter will carry weight. Every decision will be a silent proclamation. Every refusal will fortify your defenses. Every absence of yours will convey a message. And those who don't grasp it don't need to, because this isn't for everyone. It's for those weary of merely existing within boundaries set by others. It's for those prepared to become invulnerable. Now, if this video resonated with you, if it ignited something within you, subscribe. Here, you won't encounter hollow motivation or cliché quotes. Here, you'll encounter ideas that dismantle you so you can reconstruct yourself stronger. And if you've listened this far, leave a comment. Write, "Respect starts in silence." That way, I'll know you're among the few who no longer settle for less than they deserve. And before you depart, remember this: power isn't proclaimed. It's breathed. It's experienced. And from today, you'll breathe differently. You'll move with a new rhythm, because you're no longer the same. You're someone who has recognized the trap and chosen never to fall again. See you in the next video. Or perhaps not. Because, as you now understand, those who truly matter are never perpetually present. Silence, absence, respect, then impact. Farewell.